Hej och välkomna tillbaka till kanalen. Idag är det vecka 7 i den här Torah portion läsningen. Och vi ska fortsätta läsa i Genesis, första Mosebok, 28:10 till 32:2-3 kanske. Den här heter Vayetze på hebreiska och betyder and he left. Så, och han lämnade. Och det handlar om Jakob och hans resa till Haran och livet där då för honom. Handlar också om Jakobs dröm som han har. Han ser en stege till himlen. Och Jakob möter Rakel. Arbetet där hos Laban. Livet tillsammans med Rakel, Leah och alla barn som han får där. Och sen slutligen då när han lämnar Laban och Haran. Så vi hoppar väl in och läser från Genesis 28:10. Jacob left Beersheba and set out for Haran. When he reached a certain place, he stopped for the night because the sun had set. Taking one of the stones there, he put it under his head and lay down to sleep. He had a dream in which he saw a stairway resting on the earth and its top reaching to heaven, and the angels of Elohim were ascending and descending on it. There above it stood Yahweh, and he said, I am Yahweh, the Elohim of your father Abraham, and the Elohim of Isaac, and I will give you and your descendants the land on which you are laying. Your descendants will be like the dust of the earth, and you will spread out to the west and to the east, and to the north and to the south. All peoples on the earth will be blessed through you and your offspring. Och det här vet ju vi vem det är. Det är Messias. I am with you and I will watch over you wherever you go. And I will bring you back to this land. I will not leave you until I have done what I have promised you. When Jacob awoke from his sleep, he thought, surely Yahweh is in this place, and I was not aware of it. He was afraid and said, how awesome is this place? This is none other than the house of Elohim. This is the gate of heaven. Och det är ju intressant. Här är Herrens hus. Och här är porten till himlen. Vad betyder det egentligen? Den där platsen, är det en port till himlen? Fortfarande idag? Lite intressant att fundera på. Sen kanske det är så här, jag vet inte. Ibland kan det ju vara så här att vissa saker händer som Abrahams när han ska offra Isak där. De forskarna, vad ska man säga? De som har forskat i Bibeln och på platser att där det här Abrahams offer då att det var i Jerusalem, på platsen Jerusalem nu då. Och det här kanske också är det. Jag är lite osäker. Early next morning, Jacob took the stone that he had placed under his head and set it up as a pillar and poured oil on top of it. And he called the place Bethel, though the city used to be called Luz. Then Jacob made a vow, saying, if Elohim will be with me and will watch over me on this journey I am taking, and will give me food to eat and clothes to wear, so that I return safely to my father's household, then Yahweh will be my Elohim, and this stone that I have set up as a pillar will be Elohim's house. And of all that you give me, I will give you a tenth. Så den här stenen som jag reser upp här kommer vara Guds hus. Så det är möjligt att det var där de byggde templet sen då. Det är någonting man kan kolla upp om man tycker det är intressant. Och intressant här också att allt han får så ska han ge tiondet tillbaka till Herren. Och hur gör man det i det här läget? Jag bara tänker högt. Här finns det ju inget prästerskap att ge det till. Abraham gav ju tionde till Melkisedek, den här prästen som dök upp. Han ger ett löfte i alla fall att ge tiondet. Och om vi kikar lite på löfte, hur är det? Kan vi lova Gud hur som helst? Ska vi göra det? Hur ser ett löfte ut? Bör vi göra vissa löften? Bör vi inte göra det? Och så vidare och så vidare. Här har vi lite bibelställen som handlar om löften. Vov, ett löfte. Ecclesiastes, jag är inte riktigt 100 på vilken bok det blir på svenska. Det ordspråksboken är det kanske inte. Hur som helst. When you vow a vow to Elohim, do not delay paying it, for he has no pleasure in fools. Pay what you vow. It is better that you should not vow than that you should vow and not pay. Let not your mouth lead you into sin, and do not say before the messenger that it was a mistake. Why should Elohim be angry at your voice and destroy the work of your hands? James, Jakob brev 5:12. But above all, my brothers, do not swear either by heaven or by earth or by any other oath, but let your yes be yes and your no be no, so that you may not fall under condemnation. Så här är rådet att ge inget löfte. Löfte kanske inte är, svär inte på någonting. Men jag lovar liksom, absolut jag ska göra det här lättvindigt, utan och det här att där du säger låt det bli så. Säger du ett ja så är det ett ja, och ett nej så är det ett nej. Inte, och det är också alltså var noga. Vad har du sagt någonting så gör det. Och det är det som står här, att har du lovat någonting så utfärda det då. Ta inte lätt på det, utan se till att uppfylla det. Ja, vi kommer in lite på fler saker här. Kan fortsätta läsa. Det här är 5:e Mosebok, Deuteronomy. If you make a vow to Yahweh your Elohim, you shall not delay fulfilling it, for Yahweh your Elohim will surely require it of you, and you will be guilty of sin. But if you remain from vowing, om du avstår från att svära någonting, you will not be guilty of sin. You shall be careful to do what has passed your lips, for you have voluntarily vowed to Yahweh your Elohim what you have promised with your mouth. Så det är frivilligt att ge ett ett löfte. Men har du sagt ett löfte så uppfyll det. Det är det som sägs. Det är Torah. Det är ordet. Numbers, 4 Mosebok. If a man vows a vow to Yahweh and swears an oath to bind himself by a pledge, he shall not break his word. He shall do according to all that proceeds out of his mouth. Och om vi fortsätter läsa i 4 Mosebok kapitel 30. Vi tar den först. För de här löftena då. Man ska vara noga med att stå upp för det man har sagt och utföra det som man har bundit sig att göra. Men också att jag nämnde det i någon tidigare Torah portion att mannen har befogenhet att hålla med eller avslå ett löfte som kommer från sin dotter eller från sin fru. Vi läser det här. 4 Mosebok 30. Moses spoke to the heads of the tribes of the people of Israel, saying, This is what Yahweh has commanded. If a man vows a vow to Yahweh and swears an oath to bind himself by a pledge, he shall not break his word. He shall do according to all that proceeds out of his mouth. If a woman vows a vow to Yahweh and binds herself by a pledge, while within her father's house in her youth, and her father hears of her vow and of her pledge, by which she has bound herself, and saying nothing to her, then all her vows shall stand, and every pledge by which she has bound herself shall stand. But if her father opposes her on the day that he hears it, no vow of hers, no pledge by which she has bound herself shall stand, and Yahweh will forgive her because her father opposed her. Så om en kvinna under sin fars i sin fars hus, om hon ger ett löfte, hur ska jag säga det, sätter sig själv under men hon lovar någonting att hon ska utföra det här, och om fadern inte säger någonting så står det löftet, så får hon stå för det. Gud kommer utkräva då det som är lovat. Men om fadern säger nej, avslår det här, då gäller det inte. Och egentligen samma sak står det här om när hon är gift då. Vi kan läsa det. If she marries a husband while under her vow, om hon gifter sig medan hon är under det här löftet, or any thoughtless utterance of her lips by which she has bound herself, eller ett otänksamt yttrande, om hon gör det också, and her husband hears of it and says nothing to her on the day that he hears, then her vow shall stand, and her pledge by which she has bound herself shall stand. But if on the day that her husband comes to hear of it, he opposes her, then he makes void her vow that was on her, and the thoughtless utterance of her lips by which she bound herself, and Yahweh will forgive her. But any vow of a widow or a divorced woman, anything by which she has bound herself shall stand against her. Precis, så att om hon är änka eller frånskild så gäller hennes det hon har sagt då, för då finns det ju ingen där som kan avslå det här. And if she vowed in her husband's house or bound herself by a pledge with an oath, and her husband heard of it and said nothing to her and did not oppose her, then all her vows shall stand, and every pledge by which she bound herself shall stand. But if her husband makes them null and void on the day that he hears them, then whatever proceeds out of her lips concerning her vow or concerning her pledge of herself shall not stand. Her husband has made them void, and Yahweh will forgive her. Any vow and any binding oath to afflict herself, her husband may establish, or her husband may make void. But if her husband says nothing to her from day to day, then he establish all her vows, or all her pledges that are upon her. He has established them, because he said nothing to her on the day that he heard of them. But if he makes them null and void after he had heard them, then he shall bear her iniquity. These are the statutes that Yahweh commanded Moses about the man and his wife, and about the father and his daughter while she is in her youth within her father's house. Så mannen kan nullifiera det här löftet. Men om man låter det gå så gäller det. Och han kan inte bryta det efteråt. Om man gör det, då är det han som får stå för hennes iniquity, övertramp, laglöshet, felsteg. Det får han stå för om han kommer senare och vill bryta det. Ett annat löfte är ju Nasir-löftet, som ni kanske har hört talas om. Nasir, vi kanske kan läsa om det istället. Fortfarande 4:e Mosebok, fast tidigare, kapitel 6. Speak to the people of Israel and say to them, when either a man or woman makes a special vow, the vow of a Nazarite, to separate himself to Yahweh, he shall separate himself from wine and strong drink. He shall drink no vinegar made from wine or strong drink. He shall not drink any juice of grapes or eat grapes, fresh or dried, all the days of his separation. He shall eat nothing that is produced by the grapevine, not even the seeds or the skins. Så här har du Nasir-löftet, där man separerar sig själv till Herren. Man ska inte dricka vin eller starka drycker, alkoholiga drycker. Vinäger, avhålla sig från vinäger. Och druvjuice, både färska eller torkade. Så det är ju om en russin. Och vi kommer komma in på sånt här. Hur ser våran mat ut idag? Hur ser maten ut? Maten inom parentes kanske, som man kan köpa i affären. Vad innehåller den? Är det insprängt massa saker som antingen är orent i sig, eller som det här. Vi har ju alla möjliga olika sockerarter. Fruktsocker och druvsocker. Olika såser i vinäger i och så här, så att det här är ett löfte som är, vad ska man säga? Man kan säga att det är svårare att hålla idag. Om man inte gör all sin mat själv från grunden. Och vi ser ju också hur vi har i barnens godis, så är det ju gelatin, och det är ju från gris, och det är orent för oss. Men det har man ju sprängt in i godiset. Och då kan man ju fundera liksom, hur kan det vara så? Varför är det så? Vad säger det egentligen? Varför måste det vara där? Varför är det där? Och det kanske är så för att vi hela tiden ska göra fel. Fienden har placerat det där. Möjligtvis. Fått tillåtelse att placera det där. Men om vi fortsätter då. All the days of his woe of separation, no razor shall touch his head until the time is completed for which he separates himself to Yahweh. He shall be holy. Han ska vara helig. Helig är set apart, är det ordet. Han ska vara, åsidosatt. Jag hittar inget bra svenskt ord där. Ställd åt sidan. Holy. Man ska urskilja sig egentligen från mängden. Kan man väl tolka det som. He shall let the locks of hair of his head grow long. Så man ska inte klippa sitt hår. All the days that he separates himself to Yahweh, he shall not go near a dead body, not even for his father or for his mother, for brother or sister, if they die. If they die, shall he make himself unclean, because his separation to Elohim on his head. All the days of his separation, he is holy to Yahweh. Han är avsatt till Herren. Så även om din far eller din mor, broder, syster går bort, så ska du inte röra deras kroppar. Och det här är vad ordet säger. Och man kan ju tycka, men vad är det här? Tänk om man skulle göra så här själv. Alltså stå inför den situationen. Nej, jag tänker inte komma på den här begravningen. Jag tänker ha kvar mitt långa hår. Hur skulle det tas emot i världen? Jag tror inte många skulle gilla att säga halleluja. Halleluja för att du lyssnar till Herren. Utan vad är det för knasigheter du håller på med? Tror jag. Att man skulle bemötas med. And if any man dies very suddenly besides him, and he defiles his consecrated head, then he shall shave his head on the day of his cleansing. On the 7th day he shall shave it. On the 8th day he shall bring 2 turtle doves or 2 pigeons to the priest to the entrance of the tent of meeting. Det här tältet som det pratas om, det är tältet som de får påbud om att bygga upp i öknen. Det här blir senare ett tempel. Inte för att Gud begär det, utan för att människorna vill ha ett tempel och en kung. Men de hade med sig ett tält i öknen där prästerna var då. Så de ska komma till ingången till tältet. And the priest shall offer one bird for a sin offering and the other for a burnt offering, and make atonement for him, because he sinned by reason of the dead body. And he shall consecrate his head the same day, and separate himself to Yahweh for the days of his separation, and bring a male lamb, a year old, for a guilt offering. But the previous period shall be void, because his separation was defiled. Så misslyckas man så ska man klippa av sig håret där 7:e dagen. 8:e dagen ska man gå till prästen då för att göra göra bot, göra rätt för det, betala för det. Och man får inte tillräkna de här dagarna som har gått då till det här, utan antingen får man börja om eller inte börja om. And this is the law for the Nazarite. When the time of his separation has been completed, när den här eden är slutförd, och det finns ju ingen tidsaspekt på den. Bibeln säger inte att det är ett år eller ett halvår eller 3 år, 10 år. He shall be brought to the entrance of the tent of meeting, and he shall bring his gift to Yahweh, 1 male lamb, a year old, without blemish, for a burnt offering, and 1 ewe lamb, a year old, with blemish, as a sin offering, with no blemish, and 1 ram without blemish, as a peace offering, and a basket of unleavened bread, loaves of fine flour mixed with oil, and unleavened wafers smeared with oil, and their grain offering and drink offerings. Och många offer. Lamm, olika typer av lamm, ram, och så bröd bakat i olja och så vidare. And the priest shall bring them before Yahweh and offer his sin offering and burnt offering, and he shall offer the ram as a sacrifice of peace offering to Yahweh, with the basket of unleavened bread. The priest shall offer also its grain offering and its drink offering. And the Nazarite shall shave his consecrated head at the entrance of the tent of meeting, and shall take the hair from his consecrated head, and put it on the fire that is under the sacrifice of the peace offering. And the priest shall take the shoulder of the ram, when it is boiled, and 1 unleavened loaf out of the basket, and 1 unleavened wafer, and shall put them on the hands of the Nazarite, after he has shaved the hair of his consecration, and the priest shall wave them for a wave offering before Yahweh. They are a holy portion for the priest, together with the breast that is waved, and the thigh that is contributed. And after that the Nazarite may drink wine. Jag skrattar lite, det skulle vara kul att se. Kul och men viftoffer liksom. Ja, ja. Vi läste precis vad som stod. This is the law of the Nazarite. But if he vows an offering to Yahweh above his Nazarite vow, as he can afford, in exact accordance with the vow that he takes, then he shall do in addition to the law of the Nazarite. Så man kan göra fler löften. Inte om man gör Nasir-löftet, du kan göra fler löften också. Men så här skulle du bära det åt sen när tiden var inne för att avsluta det. Så skulle du komma till prästen med de här offren. Och vi kommer komma in på, ja men, ska vi göra så här nu då? Ska vi offra lamm? Ska vi offra det här? Och vi har ju inte det här nu. Ska vi ha det här då? Ska det byggas ett tempel, ett 3:e tempel i Jerusalem? Är det bra? Är det dåligt? Är det vi väntar på? Eller har det här ersatts? Jesus, Messias, han är ju en ny överstepräst i formen av Melkisedek. Men vi har ju fortfarande kvar, alltså Paulus pratar om att våra böner är offer. Så ja, jag vill inte gå in på allt för detaljerat, utan kan saker göras utan fysiska prästämbetet, fysiska templet eller tältet? Bör det göras? Eller ska det göras på ett annat sätt? Eller ska man helt bara slänga bort allting? Och det är väl lite dem vi försöker komma fram till. Därför vi läser det här gamla. Och också få en insikt i hur funkar det? Vad är det som gäller? Vad var det som gällde? Om vi fortsätter titta på löfte. Acts. Apostlagärningarna. Paulus. 18. Vers 18. After this, Paul stayed... Vänta, ska vi läsa någonting före här? Jag skumläser lite här. Paulus ställs inför ett råd här. Paulus diskuterar med judar och greker om att Jesus, Jehusha, är den utlovade Messias de väntar på. Och vissa höll ju inte med om det. Och så ställs Paulus inför ett råd här. But when Gallio was proconsul of Achaia, the Jews made an united attack on Paul and brought him before the tribunal, saying, "This man is persuading people to worship Elohim contrary to the law." Så Paulus ställs inför rätta av judar som inte tror då att tror på evangeliet, tror på Jesus. Och de falskligen anklagar honom och säger att den här mannen vill få människor att tillbe Gud i motsats mot vad instruktionen Toran säger. Och var det där Paulus sa? Lärde han människor att nu behöver vi inte hålla oss till Guds lag längre. Nu gäller inte den längre. Det är där han ställs. Han blir falskt anklagad för det. Och så slutar det med att de blir utslängda från den här tribunalen. Jag vill bara visa på att det var här som Paulus och apostlarna blir falskt anklagade av att de försöker bryta lagen. Att den inte gäller längre. Men då, after this, Paul stayed many days longer and took leave of the brothers and set sail for Syria. And with him Priscilla and Aquila. At Cenchrea he had cut his hair, for he was under a vow. Så Paulus var under ett löfte där han då på den här platsen hade klippt av sitt hår. Så Paulus följer ordet. Messias är ordet. Han följer lagen. Han följer instruktionerna. Och på den här platsen, men det här var inte Jerusalem. Det var inte tältet. Gjorde han fel? Men här klipper han av sitt hår för han var under ett löfte. Och återigen i Apostlagärningarna 21. Paulus då. When he had come to Jerusalem, the brothers received us gladly. On the following day, Paul went in with us to James, and all the elders were present. After greeting them, he related one by one the things that Elohim had done among the Gentiles through his ministry. And when they heard it, they glorified Elohim, and they said to him, You see, brother, how many thousands there are among the Jews of those who have believed. Så här har vi tusentals judar som ändå tror. Alla judar var inte motståndare. They are all zealous for the law. Tusentals troende judar som är brinnande för lagen. Men hur är det nu då? Var lagen borta? Eller var den inte det? And they have been told about you that you teach all the Jews who are among the Gentiles to forsake Moses, telling them not to circumcise their children or walk according to our customs. Och det är ju inte det här må vara deras customs, men det är ju också laggärningar. Det är ju Torah. Det är ju inte människors egna traditioner som de bara följer, utan det här var ju laggärningar. Så de här brinnande för lagen, de här judarna, de har hört att du säger till judarna ute bland hedningarna att kasta bort Mose läror, Toran. What then is to be done? Vad ska vi göra åt det här? För så här är det ju inte. Alltså, du säger ju inte att vi ska sluta med det här. Men folk säger det om dig. Falskligen anklagar dig för det. Hur ska vi vända på det här? Hur ska vi visa att det är inte så? They will certainly hear that you have come. Do therefore what we tell you. We have 4 men who are under a vow. Take these men and purify yourself along with them and pay their expenses, so that they may shave their heads. Thus all will know that there is nothing in what they have been told about you, but that you yourself also live in observance of the law. Så hur ska vi göra så att folk förstår att du talar inte för lagbrott? Gör så här. Vi har 4 män här som är under ett löfte. Troligen nazilöfte, eftersom de ska gå och betala, ge de här offrena. Antingen då lamm eller pengar så att prästerna kan köpa sig lamm. Gå och betala det här, för att då ser ju folk att du stöttar ju det här. Alltså du har ju inte gett upp det här eller tycker att det här är onödigt eller borta med, utan då ser ju folk att du håller med, du håller dig också till det här. Och sen går de vidare och säger också att but as for the Gentiles who have believed, we have sent a letter to our judgment that they should abstain from what has been sacrificed to idols, and from blood, and from what has been strangled, and from sexual immorality. Then Paul took the men, and the next day he purified himself along with them and went into the temple, giving notice when the days of purification would be fulfilled, and the offering presented for each one of them. En liten annan avstickare då. Men när det gäller hedningarna då, så har vi skickat brev och det vill säga att de ska avhålla sig från saker som har offrats till idoler. Kan vara mat. Och avhålla sig från blod. Avhåller sig vi från blod? Har vi blodpudding och äter? Om vi inte... vi äter ju gris. Det är orent. Ja, men det var ju det gamla testamentet. Ja, okej. Men vi har ju blod här som nämns till hedningarna i Nya testamentet. Men det verkar vi ju inte följa det heller. De skulle avhålla sig också från det som har blivit strypt eller från sexuell omoral. Om vi tittar vidare lite på Nasir-löftet där. Vi har ju 3 personer i Bibeln som är nasirer. Samson i Domarboken 13. And the people of Israel again did what was evil in the sight of Yahweh. Som de återigen gjorde. De gjorde ont i Herrens ögon. So Yahweh gave them into the hands of the Philistines for 40 years. There was a certain man of Sora, of the tribe of Danites. Dans stam kommer vi komma in på. Whose name was Manoah, and his wife was barren and had no children. And the angel of Yahweh appeared to the woman and said to her, Behold, you are barren and have not borne children, but you shall conceive and bear a son. Therefore be careful and drink no wine or strong drink, and eat nothing unclean. For behold, you shall conceive and bear a son, no razor shall come upon his head, for the child shall be a Nazarite from Elohim to Elohim from the womb. And he shall begin to save Israel from the hand of the Philistines. Så han var född Nasir, Samson. Och även Samuel i första Samuelboken. Ja, vi kan ta från första där. There was a certain man of Ramathaim Sophim of the hill country of Ephraim, whose name was Elkanah, the son of Jeroham, son of Elihu, son of Tohu, son of Sup, an Ephraite. He had 2 wives. The name of the one was Hannah, and the name of the other Peninnah. And Peninnah had children, but Hannah had no children. Now this man used to go up year by year from his city to worship and to sacrifice to Yahweh of hosts. Yahweh Sebaot. Herren Sebaot som det står på svenska. There the 2 sons of Eli, Hophni and Phinehas, were priests of Yahweh. On the day when Elkanah sacrificed, he would give portions to Peninnah his wife and to all her sons and daughters. But to Hannah he gave a double portion, because he loved her, though Yahweh had closed her womb. And her rival used to provoke her grievously to irritate her, because Yahweh had closed her womb. So it went on year by year. As often as she went up to the house of Yahweh, she used to provoke her. Therefore Hannah wept and would not eat. And Elkanah, her husband, said to her, Hannah, why do you weep? And why do you not eat? And why is your heart sad? I'm not more to you than 10 sons. After they had eaten and drunk in Shiloh, Hannah rose. Now Eli the priest was sitting on the seat beside the doorpost of the temple of Yahweh. She was deeply distressed and prayed to Yahweh and wept bitterly. And she vowed a vow and said, O Yahweh Sabaoth, if you will indeed look on the afflictions of your servant and remember me and not forget your servant, but will give to your servant a son, then I will give him to Yahweh all the days of his life, and no razor shall touch his head. Så ett löfte och inte klippa håret. De kände ju till det här. Det var ju lagen. Vilken var det här då? Lukas 1. John the Baptist, Johannes döparen. Ska se, behöver jag läsa allting? Det här är intressant. In the days of Herod, king of Judea, there was a priest named Zechariah of the division of Abia, and he had a wife from the daughter of Aaron. And her name was Elizabeth, and they were both righteous before Elohim, walking blamelessly in all the commandments and statutes of Yahweh. Så när någon säger att nej, men Jesus kom för att ta bort lagen, för att den var för svår för att hålla, människan kan inte hålla den, utan Jesus var tvungen att komma för att ta bort den så att vi inte längre behöver hålla den. Så här har vi två som är rättfärdiga inför Herren. De går klanderfritt inför honom och håller alla hans kommandon och stadgar. Så det gick att göra tydligen. Och vi kommer se det också. Jesus säger ju att jag har inte kommit för att ta bort lagen. Han kom för att göra den. Han kom för att visa hur vi gör. Och sen hade han ett uppdrag också. Men han kom inte för att göra den så att vi inte behöver göra den längre. Utan den kommer alltid, den består. Så här ser vi att de kunde vandra perfect i lagen. Men they had no child, because Elizabeth was barren, and both were advanced in years. Now while he was serving as priest before Elohim, when his division was on duty according to the customs of the priesthood, he was chosen by lot to enter the temple of Elohim and burn incense. Jag fortsätter läsa hela. And the whole multitude of the people were praying outside at the hour of incense. And there appeared to him an angel of the Lord standing on the right side of the altar of incense. And Zechariah was troubled when he saw him, and fear fell upon him. But the angel said to him, Do not be afraid, Zechariah, for your prayer has been heard. And your wife Elizabeth will bear a son, and you shall call his name John. And you will have joy and gladness, and men will rejoice at his birth. For he will be great before Yahweh, and he must not drink wine or strong drink. And he will be filled with the Holy Spirit, Ruach HaKodesh, som det heter på hebreiska. Ruach, spirit. HaKodesh, Kodesh är helig, set apart. Ruach HaKodesh. Even from his mother's womb. and he will turn many of the children of Israel to Yahweh their Elohim. Så han var Johannes döpare, också en nasir. Och vi ser på hans liv att han åt honung och gräshoppor, står det. Och det är ju rena djur. Alla insekter är inte rena, men de är. Ja, det var mycket om löfte. Jakob gav ett löfte där. Så då hoppar vi in på löftesspåret. Om vi fortsätter att läsa då. Genesis 29. Then Jacob continued on his journey and came to the land of the eastern people, and he saw a well in the open country, with 3 flocks of sheep lying near to it, because the flocks were watered from the well. The stone over the mouth of the well was large. When all the flocks were gathered there, the shepherds would roll the stone away from the well's mouth and water the sheep. Then they would return the stone to its place over the mouth of the well. Jacob asked the shepherd, "My brother, where are you from?" "We are from Haran," they replied. He said to them, "Do you know Laban, Nahor's grandson?" "Yes, we know him," they answered. Then Jacob asked them, "Is he well?" "Yes, he is," they said. "And here comes his daughter Rachel with the sheep." "Look," he said, "the sun is still high. It is not time for the flocks to be gathered. Water the sheep and take them back to pasture." "We can't," they replied, "until all the flocks are gathered and the stone has been rolled away from the mouth of the well. Then we will water the sheep." While he was still talking to them, Rachel came with her father's sheep, for she was a shepherd. When Jacob saw Rachel, daughter of his uncle Laban, and Laban's sheep, he went over and rolled the stone away from the mouth of the well and watered his uncle's sheep. Then Jacob kissed Rachel and began to weep aloud. He had told Rachel that he was a relative of her father and the son of Rebekah. So she ran and told her father. As soon as Laban heard the news about Jacob, his sister's son, he hurried to meet him. He embraced him and kissed him and brought him to his home. And there Jacob told him all these things. Then Laban said to him, "You are my own flesh and blood." After Jacob had stayed with him for a whole month, Laban said to him, "Just because you are a relative of mine, should you work for me for nothing? Tell me what your wages should be." Now Laban had 2 daughters. The name of the older were Leah, and the name of the younger was Rachel. Leah had weak eyes, but Rachel had a lovely figure and was beautiful. Jacob was in love with Rachel and said, "I will work for you 7 years in return for your younger daughter Rachel." Laban said, "It is better that I give her to you than some other man. Stay here with me." So Jacob served 7 years to get Rachel, but they seemed like only a few days to him because his love for her. Then Jacob said to Laban, "Give me my wife, that my time is completed and I want to make love to her." Det skulle man säga till svärfar. I want to make love to her. So Laban brought together all the people of the place and gave a feast. But when evening came, he took his daughter Leah and brought her to Jacob, and Jacob made love to her. And Laban gave his servant Zilpah, to his daughter as her attendant. When morning came, there was Leah. So Jacob said to Laban, "What is this you have done to me? I served you for Rachel, didn't I? Why have you deceived me?" Laban replied, "It is not our custom to give the younger daughter in marriage before the older one. Finish this daughter's bridal week, then we will give you the younger one also in return for another 7 years of work." And Jacob did so. He finished the week with Leah, and when Laban gave him his daughter Rachel to be his wife, Laban gave his servant Bilhah to his daughter Rachel as her attendant. Jacob made love to Rachel also, and his love for Rachel was greater than his love for Leah. And he worked for Laban another 7 years. Så Jakob fick inte Rakel till att börja med. Han fick Leah istället, fast han ville ha Rakel. Jag ska bara gå tillbaka. Vad är det han får för svar från Laban? Han säger, jag ger mig Rakel för 7 år. Då säger han, ja, det är bättre att jag ger henne till dig än någon annan. Ja, och så utifrån det här då, så säger han ju inte ja, du ska få Rakel, utan han säger bara, han håller bara med att ja, jag kommer ge henne till dig. Det är bättre att jag ger henne till dig. Men han hade inte tanke att ge henne efter 7 år. Han tänkte ge bort Leah först då. Ja. When the Lord, Yahweh, saw that Leah was not loved, he enabled her to conceive. Jag gillar det lite grann. Att Herren tar sig an den som är utstött. Leah var inte älskad här. Men hon fick möjlighet att bära fram frukt, få barn. But Rachel remained childless. Och det är lite samma som med Ishmael och Hagar. Hon är ju inte så omtyckt heller, men hon får barn där. Leah became pregnant and gave birth to a son. She named him Reuben, for she said, "It is because Yahweh has seen my misery. Surely my husband will love me now." She conceived again, and when she gave birth to a son, she said, "Because Yahweh heard that I'm not loved, he gave me this one too." So she named him Simeon. Så här kommer de 12 stammarna. 12 söner. Ruben först. Simeon nummer 2. Again she conceived, and when she gave birth to a son, she said, "Now at last my husband will become attached to me, because I have borne him 3 sons." So he was named Levi. Levi kommer vi se sen, blir leviterna, prästerna då. She conceived again, and when she gave birth to a son, she said, "This time I will praise Yahweh." So she named him Judah. Then she stopped having children. Så 4 barn. Ruben, Simeon, Levi, Juda. Som Leah födde då. Kapitel 30. When Rachel saw that she was not bearing Jacob any children, she became jealous of her sister, so she said to Jacob, "Give me child or I'll die." Jacob became angry with her and said, Am I in the place of Elohim who has kept you from having children? Kan jag göra någonting åt det här? Det är ju Herren som styr det. Om vi får barn. Then she said, Here is Bilhah, my servant. Sleep with her so that she can bear children for me, and I too can build a family through her. So she gave him her servant Bilhah as wife. Jacob slept with her, and she became pregnant and bore him a son. Then Rachel said, God, Elohim, has vindicated me. He has listened to my plea and given me a son. Because of this she named him Dan. Så här har vi Dan. 5:e barnet. Men föds från Rakels vad säger man? Tjänarina, servant. Rachel's servant Bilhah conceived again and bore Jacob a second son. Then Rachel said, I have had a great struggle with my sister, and I have won. So she named him Naphtali. When Leah saw that she had stopped having child, she took her servant Zilpah and gave her to Jacob as a wife. Leah's servant Zilpah bore Jacob a son. Then Leah said, What good fortune! So she named him Gad. Leah's servant Zilpah bore Jacob a second son. Then Leah said, How happy I am! The woman will call me happy. So she named him Asher. During wheat harvest, Reuben went out into the fields and found some mandrake plants, which he brought to his mother Leah. Rachel said to Leah, Please give me some of your son's mandrakes. But she said to her, Wasn't it enough that you took away my husband? Will you take my son's mandrakes too? Very well, Rachel said. He can sleep with you tonight in return for your son's mandrakes. So when Jacob came in from the field that evening, Leah went out to meet him. You must sleep with me, she said. I have hired you with my son's mandrakes. So he slept with her that night. Elohim listened to Leah, and she became pregnant and bore Jacob a fifth son. Then Leah said, Elohim has rewarded me for giving my servant to my husband. So she named him Issachar. Leah conceived again and bore Jacob a sixth son. Then Leah said, Elohim has presented me with a precious gift. This time my husband will treat me with honor, because I have borne him 6 sons. So she named him Zebulon. Sometime later she gave birth to a daughter and named her Denna. Then Elohim remembered Rachel. He listened to her and enabled her to conceive. She became pregnant and gave birth to a son and said, Elohim has taken away my disgrace. She named him Joseph and said, May Yahweh add to me another son. Så Bibeln är ganska kort här. Går ganska snabbt med barnafödandet här. Vi ska kika lite på så här. Kan vara intressant. Abraham, Sara, Isak, Rebecka, Jakob där. Leah då. Jakob vill jobba för Rakel. För att få Rakel först. Han får Leah. Så det är Leah som inte är älskad då. Men det är hon som får många av stammarna här. Ruben, Simeon, Levi, Juda. Och sen Silpa får nej, fel. Rakels servant Bila får Dan och Naftali. Och sen får Leas servant Silpa, Gad, Asher. Och sen får Lea återigen Ishakar, Sebulon. Sen får Rakel Josef. Men före det får Lea en dotter här också, Dina. Och det kommer vara en liten historia om henne här också. Med Ruben och Simeon inblandade. Sen kommer Josef i alla fall, nummer 11. Och sen Benjamin föds lite längre fram. Vi kommer inte läsa det idag. Men kan vara intressant att få den här bilden för att se hur det ser ut. Lite lättare att se än att bara läsa. After Rachel gave birth to Joseph, Jacob said to Laban, "Send me on my way so I can go back to my own homeland. Give me my wives and children from whom I have served you, and I will be on my way. You know how much work I have done for you." But Laban said to him, "If I have found favor in your eyes, please stay. I have learned by divination that Yahweh has blessed me because of you." Divination, det låter som ett trollformel. Jag tror inte att andra översättningar översätter det inte så här, utan han har lärt sig av erfarenhet, eller han har sett att Herren har välsignat Laban på grund av Jakob då. He added, "Name your wages and I will pay them." Stanna kvar istället. Jag kommer betala dig. Jacob said to him, "You know how I have worked for you and how your livestock has fared under my care. The little you had before I came has increased greatly, and Yahweh has blessed you wherever I have been. But now, when may I do something for my own household?" "What shall I give you?" he asked. "Don't give me anything," Jacob replied. "But if you will do this one thing for me, I will go on tending your flocks and watching over them. Let me go through all your flocks today and remove from them every speckled or spotted sheep, every dark-colored lamb, and every spotted or speckled goat. They will be my wages. And my honesty will testify for me in the future. Whenever you check on the wages you have paid me, any goat in my possession that is not speckled or spotted, or any lamb that is not dark-colored will be considered stolen." Så Jakob säger, låt mig plocka ut får och lamm som har fläckar, som inte är, men ta andrahandssorteringen. Andrahandssorteringen kan jag ta. "Agreed," said Laban. "Let it be as you have said." The same day he removed all the male goats that were streaked and spotted, and all the speckled or spotted female goats, and all the dark-colored lambs, and he placed them in the care of his sons. But he put a 3-day journey between himself and Jacob, while Jacob continued to tend the rest of Laban's flock. Jacob, however, took fresh cut branches from poplar, almond and plane trees, and made white stripes on them by peeling the bark and exposing the white inner wood of the branches. Så Jakob tar grenar från ett visst typ av träd, almond, mandel, och han tar vissa typer av grenar och gör ränder eller tar bort barken från de här. Then he placed the peeled branches in all the watering troughs. Så han la de här pinnarna i vattenkannor, so that they would be directly in front of the flocks when they came to drink. When the flocks were in the heat and came to drink, they mated in front of the branches, and they bore young that were streaked or speckled or spotted. Jacob set apart the young of the flock by themselves, but made the rest face the streaked and dark-colored animals that belonged to Laban. Thus he made separate flocks for himself and did not put them with Laban's animals. Whenever the stronger females were in heat, Jacob would place the branches in the trough in front of the animals, so they would mate near the branches. But if the animals were weak, he would not place them there. So the weak animals went to Laban, and the strong ones to Jacob. In this way the man grew exceedingly prosperous and came to own large flocks, and female and male servants, and camels and donkeys. Ja, han delade upp, han såg till att föra fram en stark flock till sig själv. Och av de svagare fåren så fick Laban dem. Och man kanske tycker att det låter, ja, men det här var ju slukt eller liksom elakt gjort på något sätt, men så här gjorde han. Kapitel 31. Jacob heard that Laban's sons were saying, Jacob has taken everything our father owned, and has gained all his wealth from what belonged to our father. And Jacob noticed that Laban's attitude toward him was not what it had been. Then Yahweh said to Jacob, Go back to the land of your fathers and to your relatives, and I will be with you. So Jacob sent word to Rakel and Leah to come out of the field where his flocks were, and he said to them, I see that your father's attitude toward me is not what it was before, but the Elohim of my father has been with me. You know that I worked for your father with all my strength, yet your father has cheated me by changing my wages 10 times. However, God Elohim has not allowed him to harm me. If he said, the speckled ones will be your wages, then all the flocks gave birth to speckled young. And if he said, the streaked one will be your wages, then all the flocks bore streaked youngs. So Elohim has taken away your father's livestock and has given them to me. In breeding season, I once had a dream in which I looked up and saw that the male goat mating with the flock were streaked, speckled, or spotted. The angel of Elohim said to me in a dream, Jacob. I answered, Here I am. And he said, Look up and see that all the male goats mating with the flock are streaked, speckled, or spot. For I have seen all that Laban has been doing to you. I am the Elohim of Bethel, where you anointed a pillar, and where you made a vow to me. Now leave this land at once, and go back to your native land. Then Rachel and Leah replied, Do we still have any share in the inheritance of our father's estate? Does he not regard us as foreigners? Not only has he sold us, but he has used up what was paid for us. Surely all the wealth that Elohim took away from our father belongs to us and our children. So do whatever Elohim has told you. Then Jacob put his children and his wives on camels, and he drove all his livestock ahead of him, along with all the goods he had accumulated in Padan Aram, to go to his father Isaac in the land of Canaan. When Laban had gone to shear his sheep, Rachel stole her father's household gods. Moreover, Jacob deceived Laban, the Aramean, by not telling him he was running away. So he fled with all he had, crossed the Euphrates River, and headed for the hill country of Gilead. On the third day, Laban was told that Jacob had fled. Taking his relatives with him, he pursued Jacob for 7 days and caught up with him in the hill country of Gilead. Then Elohim came to Laban the Aramean in a dream at night and said to him, Be careful not to say anything to Jacob, neither good or bad. Jacob had pitched his tent in the hill country of Gilead when Laban overtook him, and Laban and his relatives camped there too. Then Laban said to Jacob, What have you done? You have deceived me, and you have carried off my daughters like captives in war. Why did you run off secretly and deceive me? Why didn't you tell me so I could send you away with joy and singing to the music of timbrels and harps? You didn't even let me kiss my grandchildren and my daughters goodbye. You have done a foolish thing. I have the power to harm you, but last night the Elohim of your father said to me, Be careful not to say anything to Jacob, neither good or bad. Now you have gone off because you longed to return to your father's household. But why did you steal my gods? Jacob answered Laban, I was afraid because I thought that you would take your daughters away from me by force. But if you find anyone who has your gods, that person shall not live. In the presence of our relatives, see for yourself whether there is anything of yours here with me. If so, take it. Now Jacob did not know that Rachel had stolen the gods. So Laban went into Jacob's tent and into Leah's tent and into the tent of the 2 female servants, but he found nothing. After he came out of Leah's tent, he entered Rachel's tent. Now Rachel had taken the household god and put them inside her camel's saddle, and was sitting on them. Laban searched through everything in the tent, but found nothing. Rachel said to her father, Don't be angry, my lord, that I cannot stand up in your presence. I'm having my period. So she So he searched but could not find the household gods. Jacob was angry and took Laban to task. "What is my crime?" he asked Laban. "How have I wronged you that you hunt me down? Now that you have searched through all my goods, what have you found that belongs to your household? Put it here in front of your relatives and mine, and let them judge between the two of us." "I have been with you for 20 years now. Your sheep and goats have not miscarried, nor have I eaten rams from your flocks. I did not bring your animal torn by wild beasts. I bore the loss myself, and you demand payment for me for whatever was stolen by day or night. This was my situation. The heat consumed me in the daytime, and the cold at night, and sleep fled from my eyes. It was like this for the 20 years I was in your household. I worked for you 14 years for your 2 daughters, and 6 years for your flocks, and you changed my wages 10 times. If the Elohim of my father, the Elohim of Abraham, and the fear of Isaac had not been with me, you would surely have sent me away empty-handed. But Elohim has seen my hardship and the toil of my hand, and last night he rebuked you." Intressant att man använder ordet för Elohim, Elohim of Abraham, and the fear of Isaac. Vi ska ju frukta Gud. Men någonting som man kan höra från kyrkligt håll är att man ska ha en rätt fruktan. Men man definierar inte det, utan det kan låta som att du ska inte frukta Gud. Det är fel att frukta Gud. Du måste ha en rätt fruktan för Gud. Och den fruktan leder inte till att vara laglydig. Utan den fruktan leder ofta till att du ska ha en korrekt fruktan. Och då leder den till laglöshet egentligen. Men det står flera gånger att vi ska ha en fruktan för Herren. Och en fruktan för Herren gör att vi håller oss till hans väg. Laban answered Jacob, "The women are my daughters, the children are my children, and the flocks are my flock. All you see is mine. Yet what can I do today about these daughters of mine, or about the children that they have borne? Come now, let's make a covenant, you and I, and let it serve as a witness between us." So Jacob took a stone and set it up as a pillar. He said to his relatives, "Gather some stones." So they took stones and piled them in a heap, and they ate there by the heap. Laban called it Jäger Saduta, and Jacob called it Galid. Laban said, "This heap is a witness between you and me today." That is why it was called Galid. It was also called Mishpah, because he said, "May Yahweh keep watch between you and me when we are away from each other. If you mistreat my daughters, or if you take any wives besides my daughters, even though no one is with us, remember that Elohim is a witness between you and me." Laban also said to Jacob, "Here is this heap, And here is the pillar I have set up between you and me. This heap is a witness, and this pillar is a witness, that I will not go past this heap to your side to harm you, and that you will not go past this heap and pillar to my side to harm me. May the Elohim of Abraham and the Elohim of Nahor, the God of their father, judge between us. Nahor. Undrar om jag kan hitta det här. Jag tror att det står i Jubilees att han också ville hålla sig till vägen. Så se om jag kan hitta det. The Elohim of their fathers, judge between us. So Jacob took an oath in the name of the fear of his father Isaac. So Jacob took an oath in the name of the fear of his father Isaac. He offered a sacrifice there in the hill country and invited his relatives to a meal. After they had eaten, they spent the night there. Early the next morning, Laban kissed his grandchildren and his daughters and blessed them, and he left and returned home. Nej, jag hittade inte det jag skulle leta efter. Det var en annan sak. Men strunt samma. Vi ska läsa sista där. Kapitel 32. Jacob also went on his way, and the angels of Elohim met him. When Jacob saw them, he said, "This is the camp of Elohim." So he named that place Mahanaim. Jag tror vi stannar där. Ja. Vi stannar där. Yes. Det var veckans Torah portion. Vecka 7. Vi har pratat mycket om löftesbiten, vow, om man ger ett löfte. Vad säger ordet om det? Och också stammarna här, de 12 stammarna, 12 sönerna som föds av olika mödrar och slavinnor. Och stammarna har ju lite olika betydelser, vad ska man säga? Lite olika uppgifter sen kommer vi se när de kommer in i landet här. Det är ju 12 stammar egentligen. En stam, Levi stam, får ju ingen arvedel i landet utan blir ju prästerskapet här sen. Men det kommer vi komma in på. Jag hoppas det har varit till någon välsignelse och att ni har sett någonting nytt. Tack för idag.